Howdy. Today we are going to be making a key for this Volkswagen Beetle cluster. The note come in and said that they tried to have a locksmith make the key, but they were unable to. Originally, they just, they lost their blade out of here. So I assume the chip in this is good, but I'm not going to use this at all. I'm just going to open up the cluster, EEPROM it, put two new keys in there, and I'm going to decode this lock here. Now, this lock looks like it's already been opened because the spring is out. I'm not sure if they fully took the plug out of the cylinder or not, but I'm going to completely open it up and see what's going on in there. Also, this lock has the key code stamped on it. It's not very common for Volkswagens, but some of the older Beetles actually, have the code stamped like this. So even if this is messed up, thankfully we should be able to make the key for the car anyway. But like I said, I still want to take it apart. And we're going to be doing all of that very shortly. But first, I want to take a look at a neat little tool I was sent. This is a precision screwdriver from xCool. And they sent this to me, asked me to take a look at it. I took a quick gander at it last night and I got it charging. But now we are going to just take a quick look at it before we work on that cluster. So I really like the case. It's a nice aluminum case, and it's also like the holder and the charging. So this is perfect for carrying it around with you in like a mobile tool bag. And if you work on electronics, it would be good for smaller things like more consumer type electronics. Not so much what I do. I do a lot of auto stuff, so they have really big screws and bolts in them, and you kind of need a full power drill for that. But this is it's really nice for what it is. So basically, you push this little button here, and it will pop open. And inside, we have all our bits, and on both sides we have bits. This is one thing I kind of don't like. I don't like how there's stuff on both sides, but you know it doesn't matter when it's stuck in the case, but when you have it out like this, I'm always worried they're going to fall. Now, it is pretty magnetic, so they do stay stuck pretty well. But anyway, you can use it for, these normal small little bits. And you can also, it has a chuck in there where you can, kind of like a Dremel, where you can hold round things. So you could, I guess, hold any kind of Dremel tip. And also they give you some drill bits here. I probably won't use it for drilling too much because it doesn't really have a good speed for drilling. But the device itself is very simple. So we have a button at the top and we have two arrows here. Okay, so it also has a little light there, which is pretty neat. Okay, and then we have righty tighty and we have lefty loosey. And it also has a function where you can make it stay on. So like if I hit it, I think it's 3 times. One, two, 1, 2, 3. I can't get it to stay on. I can't remember how you do it. Maybe it's like the. Okay, there's a way that you can make it stay on. I can't remember. I don't really feel like looking at the instructions. The instructions are printed really small. I can barely see them. But anyway, the only other function that it has is you can change the power and the speed. So you have setting 1, which is going to be slower but more powerful. Then you have 2, which is a little bit faster, a little bit less power though. And then you have 3 and 4. And then you have drill speed. So drill speed is, you're not going to have hardly any torque power, I guess is how you would refer to it, but you're going to have faster speed. So the higher the number, the faster the speed, but the less power. So and the lower the number, the slower the speed, but the more power you have. And I mean, that's basically all there is to it, which is good. You don't need a lot to a screwdriver. But if you did want to use a little drill bit, which I can't imagine why you would really use this for drilling too much, you get this little chuck here. You put it in there, and you get your little drill bit, just like a Dremel. You put it in there like that. Let's try to drill. I have a piece of wood here that I use for opening computers and stuff like that. Let's hold this down to go into this setting menu. And once you're in this menu, you push it to the number that you want. I'm going to go to the little drill and I'm going to hit this. Now we are on the drill speed. Okay. Oh, there we go. So now I have it where it just freely drills. And let's see here. Yeah, there you go. Uh-oh, I didn't have the bit tight enough there. Okay. Man, going right through there. Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't have the bit tight enough, but that's okay. It does work, but like I said, I don't know why you would use this to drill much. That would be kind of a rarely used thing. Mostly you're going to want to use it as, you know, a little screwdriver. Right, so let's see how well it opens up this instrument cluster here that I got. I'm going to put this cap back on here because I don't want to damage the threads. I guess you could use it without the cap if you wanted to. And then you don't want to use your chuck. It's got a spot in there to hold it, but it's not magnetic, so it will fall out when you flip it. So you're going to have to keep this somewhere else. That's the only thing about the case that doesn't stay in there. Everything else stays in there really good. Oh, it's also got where you can magnetize and demagnetize your bits. That will be handy. Okay, now it has a lot of different bits. I'm going to use just this regular Phillips here. It's a little bit longer than the other one. Okay, and when you go to put this in, sometimes it won't feel like it won't go in. You might have to twist it just a little bit to make it sit perfect. Because you know you're going through double holes here. This is the hole for the cap, but it's not sitting in the the actual spot yet. So you might have to twist it to get it in there. Okay, and I'm going to turn my speed back down to 1. Did it set? Yeah. Okay. So there we go. Still looks kind of fast, but that's okay. Let me go ahead and get this thing open, and we will get started on doing this actual work here. So, all right. So that one is out. Pretty good. And these are some pretty tight screws. So it's actually pretty powerful. I see, having trouble on that one. Like I said, these screws are almost like glued in, but it's getting it. I'm gonna turn it a little bit by hand. There we go. Let's see how well it gets this one. I'm gonna turn it a little bit as I push the button. Okay, there we go. So I'm surprised that it actually did it because, like I said, these screws are almost like they're glued in. But it didn't. So yeah, pretty good. Pretty nice little tool. I'll probably use it quite a bit, but I don't do a lot of smaller electronics. So I won't use it as often as somebody who does that type of work, but that's what makes this case so awesome, because I can just pack it away just like that, and it's done. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do with this cluster here is get the data read. Okay, they've got the chip covered up, but since it has these prongs here, I know which one it is. It's the older one. So that would be a D60, I think, for the 9S12. I was going to use orange 5, but I couldn't find it, so I'm going to use my xProbe to read this. Conveniently enough, we have some prongs here, so I'm going to use a female to female rainbow cable there to connect my xProbe in the cluster. But I do need to get the wire and pin out because I can't remember. See, orange 5 has a special thing just for those that tells you, but like I said, I couldn't find it. I'm pretty sure I have this pin out on my website, though. I think it's one of the ones I uploaded. It should be in here. Dashboards. Yeah, there it is. Beetle. Okay, yeah, there it is. So the first one is background debugging, then reset, then power, skip one, and ground. Got it. All right, let's go ahead and get this connected. So we had, let's do black for ground so I don't get confused. And let's do white for reset. Let's do this gray for background debugging, and let's get a red one for power. Okay, I'm just going to use this green one for power because I couldn't find my wires that I literally just had in my hand. It's amazing, it just disappeared. But anyway, so green is going to be, whoa, green is VDD. I almost plugged it in the wrong one. Black was ground. Let's see, gray was background debugging, which is this one. White is reset. And green come up disconnected, which was VDD. Okay, so everything is connected here. Let's go back to the desktop and go to our xProbe software. I'm gonna select the device, go to MCU. Let's go here. Let's just try D60. It did read that time. I want to read it again because my finger moved while it was reading. My wires are loose on my the prongs there. I've worn it out, either the wire or the prongs, so it's super loose. But there is our data, which will have our keys in it. All right, so I've got it saved. Now we will open up Tango and load the file. So we need to go to Europe, VW, find Beetle, and this is the early version 9S12. Okay, now I've navigated to the file. I had this saved in an area where, a lot of customer data with their names and stuff like that. So I kind of cut that out and have it in this temporary folder for right now to demonstrate for you guys. But here it is. I'm going to go ahead and open it. And we have unknown version. So something is not right with what we read. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that means. Either xProbe is not reading it good. Maybe there's an issue with the cluster or something else. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and find my orange 5 wherever it may be, and we will try to read it with that just to see what happens. All right, so good news. I found my orange 5 there. Let's try this again. Okay, so go back over here, reconnect everything. Black is ground. Gray was background debugging, which on the orange 5 is RxD. We have BCC. Man, I wish I had some better cables. These keep falling apart. Okay, so we're gonna put that on green on VCC, and then we have reset. Man, everything just keeps coming apart. That's okay. We will get it. Okay, and here is background debugging. Okay, so they're all fully connected now. Gonna plug this in. Gonna switch back to our display view and try to read it with orange 5 here. So for orange 5, I'm going to go to type. I'm going to change this to groups, and I'm going to go to their special Immobilizer functions. We're going to go here to the Volkswagen and go to the Beetle here. Okay, and then we will hit boot. And let me hold my cables down. Let's try that again. Hit boot. And I'm going to read. And here we have our data. Okay, so I'm going to save this one as Beetle Orange 5 just so I know the difference. And now what I want to do is I want to compare these two to see if there's any difference. If there's no difference, then that's not good. Tango was not happy about something. And we'll have to figure it out. Okay, so there is no difference. All right, so what I've done is I've added in a known good file. Okay, this one will open no problem. You see, this one opened. And this is so that we can now, let me go back here. Okay, so now we can see what the difference between a good file and this bad file is. Okay, now you will see a lot of difference because, of course, you know, they're two different clusters. But I want to see if I see any, man, it is structurally a lot different. Something's not right. Because like here you see the VIN, we should see the VIN of this one. Now, I know you saying to yourself, how the hell do you see anything in this mess? Because it's so much that different. But like here we can see part number. They're both 951s with some little bit of changes in the beginning part of it. It looks like it's got no keys in it. I think that's the problem. I think they tried to program keys and then they couldn't. So they erased the old keys. This line 10 to 40, maybe 10 to 50, 10 to 70 maybe. It's probably all fault codes. And think the keys are, you know, I can't remember where the keys are in this. But we can figure that out because I have another file for this with keys in it. Okay, so I retrieved the other file that has keys in it. Now let's see where the keys are stored. And then we'll be able to tell if the keys were erased in the one we're looking at. So yeah, there is our key. So right here at 347, we can see that this has one key in the system. On this one is the good with keys. We can see that at 347 we have 3 keys in the system. So, and that's repeated here and here, keys in the system. Here we have a key. Here we have a key. Well, actually, this is repeated, so it's repeated. It's repeated. Oh, okay, I see. So this 7C is the first key, 7C97FFCF. That is the first key that's in both files. This 2AD838CA is the second key. And then this 2AD89410 is the third key. And then it's repeated. So if we come over here to this one and first go look at 347. If we go to 347, this actually has one key in the system. According to that data, if that data is correct. Oh, this is the good file. I'm an idiot. See, this is the bad file, and this is the data is all messed up. All right, so we've got a bit of a mess on our hands here. right? We don't know what's going on with this. We don't know what the other person done, and it doesn't look right. Now, I don't know if I don't think they connected with EEPROM, and I don't know, if they use special tools or whatever. I have no idea what they did. The only thing the customer told me is that they tried to generate a key and they could not. And they sent a uncut blank. So I'm not sure if they even tried to program it or not. But anyway, so I want to verify what chip this is. Okay, so I'm just going to take off these little labels here. And since I can't see very well, I don't know what that says. It's a 1F68K as the mask. So they have the chip. They have the chip with a in-house part number, but they do have the correct mask, which is this 1F68K. So I want to go back. Let's go to our xProbe software, and let me go back to device. So 1F68K. So it is this D60 right here. That is our mask, right? All right. So let's take a look at how bad the data is and see if we can't figure it out. So the section where it starts to get wrong, it looks like so these are probably normal. This looks like it's wrong. Let's see, what is this? What is this number? I think that that's not right as well. I think right here is where it stops being normal after these F's. So ignore the zeros. Zero and F is pretty much the same thing, but maybe right here is where it started rewriting whatever it was doing, and that's where it failed. So I'm not sure how we are going to fix this because the sync with the ECU is probably here. But what I might do, I don't have the ECU. They only sent the cluster. But what I might do is I might just steal the data from this good cluster and write it to this bad cluster, program two keys to it, and then I might actually just tell them to send me the ECU and I'll just do an immobilizer off in the ECU. Now the cluster still has the immobilizer and that will be programmed, but the light would still come on and stuff like that. I don't know. It's a mess. Or you know what? Maybe this could be crazy, but maybe this Volkswagen does not have a transponder. I didn't think about that until just now. Perhaps that data is for instrument clusters that have no immobilizer in them. It's still missing the VIN, but maybe it doesn't care about a VIN. Since there's no immobilizer, there's no reason to, really sync the cluster and the ECU together. Yeah, mighty weird. Let's read this key here and see if it has a chip in it, because this is their original key. They only lost a blade. If this key has no chip, then we know that we we didn't even need to work on this cluster, right? So I'm doing read, and it's not reading anything. Yeah, so I think we have figured it out. There is no transponder in this key, and the cluster data is structurally different than the other ones. I am going to call this one actually solved, and this Volkswagen has no immobilizer system in it. which is good. Now I just need to generate a key. So that was a lot of work to figure that out when I could have just tried to read the key to begin with and I would have known. But that's okay. You live and learn, and you gain some valuable experience on the way. All right, so let's put this thing back together. I'm going to use this little fancy screwdriver again here. Also, if you have a iFixit kit, all the bits fit. See? The bits fit perfectly in there. So you can switch from manual to electric at any time. So if something's a little bit too tight for the motor in this, you can use the iFixit to crack it open, loosen everything, and then you can, save time by getting your power screwdriver out here. Okay. All right. Now, it's a really nice screwdriver, but like I said, it's for light duty. It's definitely a light duty screwdriver. Okay. I wish they would have put some buttons down here maybe too. Maybe have the buttons here and then have another one down here. Because you see how I'm kind of holding it? I kind of have my fingers down there. I guess that's a good spot too though. I don't know if the lower speed actually gives it more power or if it's just slowing it down. It doesn't seem like it gives it more power. It seems like it just slows it down. Yeah, actually, the number 4 seemed like it give it more power. So, uh, most like modern drills and stuff, when you set it at a lower speed, you're giving it a little bit more, power. But um, it's nice. I like it. Like I said, it's a little bit light duty, but I like it. For consumer electronics, it would be great. Automotive stuff, though, is a little bit more difficult. So, not really a good comparison to use this for. It's kind of not what it's meant for. But anyway, cluster is done. So let's take a look at this lock now, which is the part the locksmith could not make a key to, which is pretty sad. It's pretty sad because this is a very basic lock to make a key to, either with a Leashy tool. You have the 2-in-1 pick for Leashy. You have the direct reader from Leashy. You have several different type of picks from Leashy, to tell you the truth. Or you can disassemble it, which is extremely easy. Or you have the key code literally printed on there. Okay, so it's pretty telling if you can't make a key to one of these. You probably shouldn't have took the job to begin with. But anyway, we have all the pieces out, and now we just need to get the plug out of the cylinder here. And to do that, you actually need to pick the wafers. You can use any kind of pick, like this is a little house pick. You can do that, and you just have to push down each wafer as you're pushing the plug out, like you see my finger here pushing, and then you would go in and you would push the wafer that's holding it. And you could fight this and do it like that, but I usually will actually just use my Leashy pick to do it because it's easier. So let me grab that real quick because I'm not going to fight with trying to find the wafers and using the house pick there. Before we take it apart, let's take a quick look at the code here, which is, I believe it's the bottom one, 00718. So 00718. Maybe I did that wrong. Maybe you don't need the, oh, I'm in the wrong section. All right, so we're gonna do 00178. I think that's what it was, right? Let's just try 00178. Yeah. Okay. So I think that this is what the code is going to be. This 244332224. So now let's take it apart and see what's going on here. So like I mentioned, it's easiest to do it with a pick like this rather than the house pick. So we're just going to plug that in. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to push like this. And I'm just going to come to the first pins. That's catching, and I'm going to push it. And we're going to come to the next one. And we're just going to keep coming through each pin until the plug comes out. You have to do one by one. Okay, so we moved it a little bit there. Moved it a little bit more, a little bit more. So this must be an older Beetle, like a 98, because it's not 1, 2 on one side and then 3, 4. It's actually every other. So it'd be 1, up, 2 down, 3 up, 4 down. You probably don't know what I'm talking about unless you are a locksmith, and you might know. But the 98, 99s, they use like a different style wafer pattern than almost every other Volkswagen. Okay, can't get these last ones to give it up. I think there's one more holding, maybe two. Does not want to give up. There it goes. All right, and be careful with your cylinder because you have another piece inside, and this piece has to fit in there perfectly to sit down in these little grooves that's inside. But let's take these apart and see what we got. Doesn't look like it's ever been apart, so I don't think the locksmith knew how to get the plug out of the cylinder there. I think they thought if they took it apart, it would just slide out, but that doesn't work like that. This one, you actually, this piece here that I showed you, this inner piece, it locks the wafers, these wafers still. You see right here? So as you're pushing this, you have to, you know, push it down past the shear line for each wafer to clear that little spot right there for it to come out. If not, it won't come out. All right, so let's pull these out here and see if they match our code that we had. So first I'm going to write our positions down. Okay, and this cylinder will have 1 through 8 in it, and it will have 4 depths, so 8 positions and 4 depths. Okay, let me see if I can't get a better angle for the camera here where we can kind of see both things. Okay. All right, so let's push out all of the odds first. So we have 1, which is, that is a 3. We have so we have 3, 4 so far. 3, 4, 3, 4, 1, and 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, so 3, 4, 1, 2. That is totally different than what I had pulled up for the code, so I must have the code wrong. We'll investigate that after I'm done. Let's go ahead and do the even now. So this is 2. Let me push them all down while I'm here. And we'll go backwards this time. So we have a 3. I can see that that's a 2. We have a 3, 2. I'm pretty sure that's another 3. Yeah, 3, 2, 3. 4. So 3, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. So there is our code. And let's see where we went wrong on our fill program here. So let's go here. Let's go to Volkswagen. Okay. And we have 3, 4, 4, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3. So I had the code, right? Or did I type? I must have typed it wrong. Because the code is 0718. So let me see why I had that wrong. Oh, how did I get 178 instead of 718? I'm not sure how I got mixed up there, but there you go. At least you know the code was right on the lock. It was just me being a knucklehead. Mixed it up. But that is that. Let's go ahead and put this lock back together, which is the hardest part of doing these is putting these back together, right? Actually, I'll probably have to cut a key first. All right, let's get this thing back together. I have a key cut here, so I want to go ahead and put it in there, and that's just going to help me get this piece into position, and then push the cylinder in. Okay, now remember this has special grooves. See these little notches? They have to fit in to some notches that are in there. See, like right now, it's not sitting properly, so it's not low enough. There we go. All right, now we're gonna put the cylinder in, and this part can be tricky because I'm gonna put a little WD-40 on this first. This part can be a little tricky because this piece will slide back up if you're not careful. So I'm just gonna put some tweezers here while I push this in. And see, it's still pushed up anyway. And the problem with that is you don't think it's a problem, but it pushes this piece out of where it's supposed to be. Okay, let's do it again there. So I'm just going to make sure I keep it pushed down. And you have to note too, the lock will only go one way. You see this big notch, there's a big notch and a little notch. And on the lock, you'll see a big little spot there and a smaller little knob. And they have to go in just like that. And then once they pass it, then it can turn like this, okay? And once you pass it, then you can just take this out. I done got WD-40 on it now, so I can't grab it. All right. Now that's the easy part of putting this back together. We're moving on to the hard part now. Okay, so next we need to take this little guy here. Now these like to break. If you ever go into a Volkswagen or you got a call for you put the key in and it just spins around, that's because this piece is broke. Back in the day, it used to happen a lot with BMWs. It's the same design, and they would sell repair kits where you could repair the locks, with the kit. It come with all these parts basically. I don't know if that's still a popular thing these days, but anyway, that goes there. And the next piece is this one, but the spring has to go in here. Okay. Oh my God, he done cut the spring. The last person's done cut the damn spring because they didn't know what they were doing. Oh man. So this spring is supposed to have a bend in it just like this, and that's what keeps it from spinning. And this last person, they didn't know how to put this spring back, so they thought that, hey, let me just be lazy and cut this, and then I can put it back. And they still couldn't. They destroyed it and still couldn't put it back. That just baffles me. Let me see if I can bend it enough to be able to stop it. Man, that's some hard. That might work. Good as new. Yep. Anyway, so the spring goes in there like that, and then this piece will go on. And I recommend that you actually put this piece on first because it can only go one way, and you want to make sure you fit it right. And if the spring is not on there, it's easier to do it, okay? And then let's pretend the spring is in there for right now. Then this piece is going to go like that, and then this piece will go like this, okay? But we got to get that spring in there. Now let's see. And what I like to do is, like I said, I like to put that all together first, and then I'll come in with the spring. And I'll hook the little leg onto this part, just like any other key return spring. It's got the indentions that hook on each side of the back of the lock. Okay, so I had that one side hooked already. Okay, next. Now this part, make sure you know which way this tailpiece goes on, because it only goes on one way. Like I can't flip it around and put it on. So to keep yourself from getting all stressed out, before you put the spring in, make sure it fits the however position you have it and set it in the exact position so that I know when I pick it up, I can just put it straight down, all right? Because we need that piece to push down on the spring. That's why I took it back out just to check it again, right? Because now we gotta finagle this spring in. And what I like to do, so I turn this, I'm gonna turn that too. I like to grab needle noses and I'll grab the very tip of it, right? And I'm just gonna bring. I, I'm using my thumb to kind of corral it a little bit. And I'm also using my thumb to kind of hold this collar just a little bit, right? But I grab my needle noses and I come in and I just want to get this pointy part in first. I'm not too worried about the spring. So this guy's in Bennett and it's a little bit different now, but I think we can make it work. Okay, so we're gonna get just that little tip in if I can, and I did. Right now my thumb is holding the spring. You don't want to let it go. So you're holding the spring, you're holding this collar. Now you got to come in with this piece, and you're going to use that to hold spring down into place. And I lost the collar. The collar, it come up, and the spring come up. So we have to start over, which is fine. It happens sometimes. There's another way that you can do it too. You can hold it in a vise, which helps, but usually I don't feel like getting the vise. But when I was in my van, that's how I used to do it. But let's get this. Let's get this thing in there. Stop messing around. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to take this piece, and I just want to make sure I get it in the right position, and then I'm going to hold it all and get this piece in. All right, and once you get that piece in, you you're pretty much done. Then you just have to get your clip on, and it will be done. Let's try that one more time because it come apart on me. Something wasn't right. Okay, I don't think I'm missing anything. That's everything. All right, so we're gonna grab that. Man, this is the part that I bent. I can hardly tell it's a different spring now. Okay, so you see I have everything. I'm kind of holding it, and I'm gonna use this just to keep the pressure. All right, then I'm gonna keep the tension, and then we're gonna put the clip on there, and there you go. That's how you do it. All right, let's make sure it turns. It sprang back. Let's turn it the other way, and it springs back. All right, so the lock is done. Like I said, it's not too hard. Okay, now let's get the keys ready. They wanted 2 remote keys. I'm going to use X-Horse keys here because I don't have any old VW keys. So we're going to have to program this. Okay, and we also need to put the blades in. Let's go ahead and do that first. All right. And it's going to go like that. Okay, I'm just going to set that in there first. Okay, and then I have a special little tool for pushing these little pins in. Okay, so we just get our little pin on there, and then we're going to take this guy. Okay, and we're going to set it. Okay, and that's it. Pin is in. It's a little bit off. See if I can push it in just a little bit more. Yep, that's it. That's it for that one. Let's do this one. Okay, I'm going to put that in, the little pin. I'm going to come here. This is my favorite tool for pushing in these roll pins. It will push them out too, but it does really good for putting them in. Okay, see that? Just go right in. And you know, it holds it in place as well, which is nice. All right. Now, let's program these. We're going to use this one. I know I had my other one earlier, but we're going to use the bigger one here. And look, I had just been doing this already the other day. I forgot about that. It's been a while since I've used this though. Battery's almost dead. This is the wrong one though. This is for 2011. And let's see if we can find that one in here. 7. I wonder if we can just find Beetle in the menu actually. See which ones they have. Okay, so here is the 753T, the 98 to 01. So that is perfect. 315, that is what we need. No battery in. We'll go ahead and generate it. Usually it's pretty quick. I know this plug is kind of messed up. Let's try it again. There it goes. Okay, I'll do this next one. Okay, that part is all done. Now we're just going to put some batteries in them. These take 2032, but I have 2016, so I got to stack 2 on top of each other to get the same thickness. Okay, there's that one. We can check them. Looks good. I'm gonna put it in the case there. All right, almost done. Last thing, add some VW stickers. These are really nice ones too. These are the gel ones. Look exactly like OEM. I know some people give you the little cheap ones that just looks like a metal sticker. This is actually really nice. Had these for quite a while. I bought a slew of them many years ago. There we go. Got 2 keys. We have a working lock, and we have a cluster with no immobilizer in it. But customer is going to be happy. They have everything done and back. So I'm sure that's all they care about. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed.